Welcome, everyone, back to Access to Perspectives Conversations, the podcast brought to you by our team at Access to Perspectives. My name is Joe Havemann, and we are providing training and consultancies in science communication, open science, and globally inclusive research. I'm very happy to be able to introduce you to Hülya Afat, who's here with me. Welcome, Hülya.
Thanks for having me.
It's a great pleasure. And for the background, we met at a HESI event. HESI is the Higher Education and Sustainability Initiative at the United Nations. We will put the links in the show notes and in the corresponding documentation of this episode. And where I'm part of a HESI group that's concerned with, it's called SDG Global Compact Fellows, where we look into how scholarly publishers and also researchers and librarians can work together to have a more SDGs and sustainable development goals oriented activities, advocacy, and for us as societies to work towards achieving the SDGs. It's also core of the work that we do at Access to Perspective, and it's also core of the work of Oikos, which we're here to hear about from Hülya. So, to get us started, Hülya, would you please tell us a bit about yourself? We can then also later talk more about the HISI activities, but most importantly, we want to hear about Oikos and what you do, but also what got you here. So, please share a little bit about your background, where you're from, what you're doing now, what your research is, and then we can talk about what got you to Oikos and what you guys are doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joanna. I am Hülya. I am 26. I am from Turkey. I graduated from Boğaziçi University with economics bachelor degree. I am starting my master's this year. And for my Oikos journey, let's call it, because we have Oikos International, which is an international organization supported by many chapters around the world. I started in Oikos Istanbul chapter, which is excitingly revived this year in another university in Istanbul. Then I was invited to join Oikos Consulting in 2023. Since then, I am there, and I am at the moment one of the co-presidents. And what we do in Oikos Consulting, as opposed to difference between Oikos International and Oikos Consulting, is Oikos International is more focused on sustainability as a topic in the higher education and integrating sustainability in higher education. In Oikos Consulting, we focus on building the bridge between academia and businesses, where we have student consultants training with us and getting onto consulting projects and providing affordable expertise to startups and small and medium businesses. So because, some regulations are always changing, especially in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So small businesses, especially some family businesses, we worked with very many local businesses in Austria as well. They are struggling to keep up with what is required, what is not required, what they should do with their business as well. Of course, sustainability is not just about regulations and compliance, but we also want them to get whatever they need with the regulations and reporting. And do you have a question?
No, I wanted to, before we go into all the details of the difficulties and opportunities between research and industry and startups and all of that, what is your field of research?
We did not have a thesis in our program, but we had a final paper.
Okay.
And our final paper was about social policies on the times of economic crisis. In Turkey, we looked at the 2001 crisis and 2008 crisis. It was not in our topic, but we also compared it with the 2020 COVID global crisis and what was the social policy response from the Turkish government was during that time. So I am very social impact oriented
Yeah.
since the beginning. So I will be also doing my master's in a similar way. Maybe not exactly social policies, but economic policies in regarding to environmental and social impact.
Mm.
Hopefully, it's going to be working out for my and my organization's um, goals,
Yeah.
let's say.
And just to understand better, so when we have a crisis, in this case, financial crisis or a health crisis, which also leads to all kinds of financial constraints in a society or globally in the pandemic's case. But now in the financial crisis in Turkey that led for, I guess, the state funding also to be released to look more into what can we do, how can we compensate, whatnot. So what is it that you've seen? Understanding that it's not a whole PhD thesis, you can kind of
Yeah,
invest
yeah.
time and money in, but like what are the opportunities, but mostly challenges, but also maybe opportunities that you see that come out of a financial crisis of a country?
Uh,
Like,
yeah, Turkey is a very special case because we are always in the crisis circle. Also, the crisis circles in Turkey are less than a decade always. So, uh, in order to avoid or breaking out of this circle, we need like fundamental and institutional changes. But those institutional changes never benefit the current governments or
mm,
at that time governments purposes, so they never do that. But as of the economy itself, the breaking off the economic crisis always happens with more people coming in the country and more foreign currency getting invested in the economy. So the currency exchange rates drop and everything is cooled down for a few years. Then everything also, then after that, inflation also goes up and
mm,
everything is in a circle again. Since 2018, my my understanding of Turkish economy, since 2018 we are in a consistent crisis, like we
mm,
are in a stagflation since 2018. Of course the official records would not be saying this or acknowledging it. They are not even talking about the actual inflation rates because
mm,
as a people, as person, like living in Turkey, you can see how much the prices are going up,
mm,
and that's not the inflation rate it is announced.
mm,
So it's always not adding up. It's always about the clash of the government's needs and wants and what actually people want and need.
mm,
So in the crisis times, I think it is important to have the priorities right. You have to prioritize the public safety, public health,
yeah.
uh, the social um, equality of it all.
Mm,
Especially, like, I think you also need to prioritize these outside of crisis times too.
yeah.
But it's not always the case in
Yeah,
politics,
when
especially.
everything is fine, people tend not to worry until the
Yeah.
next crisis hits and it's, oh, how did we do that again last time? Oh, nobody documented, sadly. So, oh, let's learn from scratch again. Yeah, wow, okay. I mean, I think it applies to, like, what came to mind when you mentioned the year 2018 is like the refugee influx. And then Turkey, as much as also Hungary and other countries on the Balkan region surrounding, had, I mean, basically the gateways to Central and Western Europe, where most people are hoping to find a safe space because of forced migration from
Yeah.
climate, economic crisis, and conflict. I mean, armed conflict and war. Yeah, let's not get into the politics. So I understand there's a lot of pressure on your country. And Yeah. So do you see opportunities of the crisis that you find your people, I mean, the Turkish population or society in at the moment, of what can come out of this as a
Without
positive?
Yeah, without actual, like, first of all, government needs to change. Second of all, institutions, um, perspective and priorities around, like, they either need to serve the government or they need to serve people. So they need to decide, like, the institutions, I'm talking about the governmental institutions, of course,
Mm,
not just a supermarket. The supermarket is profit oriented. They don't care about the people.
mm,
Um, but institutions also needs to have their priorities right, because we are also in a very much higher education crisis in Turkey, because a 35 year old diploma was revoked 3 months ago, and I don't know, 50, more than 50 bureaucrats, high end bureaucrats, are in jail since then because they were going to run for president. Like, it
mm,
is that simple. If you are not agreeing with what people need, uh, or if you choose to ignore what government wants,
mm,
you may end up in jail. It is like a very not strict, but it's very direct at the moment. They are not afraid to show their true colors, let's just say. But
Yes.
of course, let's not get into too much politics, because again,
Yeah. Also,
I was also included in politics for a couple of years, so I also have personal experience in Turkish politics, which I did not enjoy a bit.
yeah.
But yeah, let's go back to science and
Yeah.
open science. Maybe
Totally.
I
Yeah. No, I was. Yeah. So, sorry if I pushed you to the corner or.
it's okay. No, no. I can talk about politics, but
Yeah.
let's not talk
Maybe not
about
in this context. I just wanted to also kind of find an approach to what's motivating you to now work for Oikos. And it's maybe just one, yeah, that's because
that's a good,
it's
great
a
question. Yeah.
trend. What you described is also a trend that very much affects our work as researchers, as entrepreneurs, as anybody in between and both working together. What can we do now in Europe, in Turkey, in Austria, where you're heading? I mean, Germany and any country in the world, really. So, what are the opportunities? How research and companies, research institutions, universities, departments, research groups on a kind of individual level or on that level can work with corporate and nonprofits to mitigate political challenges, which also, like most European countries currently struggle with, increasingly so. And the United States is in the midst of kind of going towards what we already have in some other countries. Again, not going into the details, but so where do you see the opportunities of what can we, where we can take charge and make sure society is being served despite the political challenges that may or may not occur?
Yeah, I am going to start with my motivation on joining Oikos because it is very much connected.
Uh-huh.
When I was having my degree on economics, we only had only one ecological economics elective course. It was not even a mandatory course. It was elective. I took it. No one took it seriously. Everyone was after an easy A, but I learned so much, and it was given by our department head, so she was very knowledgeable on the issue as well. But my department, it was like 110 students. It was a big department, and two students were very much looking forward to being finance bros and stuff, so they did not care about environment or ecological economics or what does that actually mean. But after having that course, I could not go to another a more advanced version of that because no one else was giving it. So I started looking for an opportunity for myself to learn more and learn, like, train myself on this issue, because I am always impact driven, especially about, as we established so far, politics and social issues. So if I have the knowledge of economics, and if I use this knowledge on making some real positive impact on the environment on top of the economic model,
Mm.
that would have been the base case for myself.
Mm.
And yeah, when I joined when I joined Oikos Istanbul, it was not having that level of um, impact yet, because it was in the process of being established. It didn't establish because of bureaucratic and political reasons.
Mm.
Then we re-established it this year. Hopefully, it's going to be much stronger and much
It
impactful.
sounds like it will be, already is.
Yes. So yeah, hopefully, I'm on the advisory board this time. So I
You
will
will make
do my
sure.
best. Yeah, I will make sure it is impactful. So I think on a personal level, it is the most important thing to do is to find a community or create your own community, because we cannot do anything by ourselves.
Mm.
That's the issue. Like you asked, like on a personal level, what can we do? What are the opportunities? We need to look for more collaboration and more community. It's around us. Like even if you're in a country that does not have an Oikos chapter, for example, I don't know, or like you're in a country where there are too many NGOs like that, and you don't know which one to go,
Mm.
just try, just message them, just read about them. And you need to understand also, just ask your friends, ask the people you see on Instagram, LinkedIn. These are very much like these tools are mostly not used for their true potential.
Yeah.
And it angers me because Instagram is like an ad app right now. It's like only for advertisement and bikini models. Then what?
Mm.
Then what? Like it
Mm.
we should be using it to first showcase our proud achievements. Of course, LinkedIn is also for that, but LinkedIn has a very much different audience.
Yeah, it also has a different vibe and what is
Yeah,
being
the
communicated.
narratives are very much different, but
Mm.
Instagram can be also used in that manner. We don't have to dance to a popular song and call it a day on Instagram or TikTok. TikTok is one of the hottest news platforms at the moment.
Mm.
So why aren't we using it to its true potential?
Mm.
And I think it's when it comes to the NGOs such as ours or Oikos International or any other student organization, it always comes down to having sources.
Mm.
Because when you have enough people or enough time or enough sources, you can always create some videos, create some opportunities, or create some conversations, and you can promote them on social media, whichever platform you have. Um, and it always attracts attention, and you will get more eyes on you, you will get more connections, you will get more people interested. But when you don't have those sources, then what you do?
Mm.
That's the question. But then it comes back to the individual level. If more people are supporting these organizations, then organizations have more sources so that their voices can be heard by many. So it's like a unvicious cycle. It's a
Yeah.
positive cycle.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. When I was your age, we had the same messaging around Facebook. So it's like, oh my God, sorry. Like, I've heard that just for other platforms where one is still there, but yeah. No, I'm totally with you. My only like when you mentioned, oh, we should all use TikTok, it's like, oh, do I really now, after all, resistance, have to be on TikTok as well with my business, which is access to perspectives? But yes, if you want to reach people and the masses, then
And yeah, TikTok also is a great platform to create an organic audience, because its algorithm is I don't know what they're using to create that algorithm. I'm not going to endorse anything they are doing, but
yeah,
they're doing something right to show me the right people.
at the moment,
When I go in there, I see the things I am supposed to see or I would like to see.
mhm,
And when I create something, I don't use it in a professional level. Of course, I am using it for silly stuff, but just for fun. But when I create something, even in that level, people are in line aligned people are seeing that. So I think TikTok is a um yeah, is a tool that we are not very much inclined to use, but maybe we should.
But that's a I also don't understand the technical aspects of it, but that's what all of the social platforms do to get you into a bubble of like-minded people, so they get more content of what you want to see anyway. So that's good for marketing because then, like you said, you get the people who are anyways interested, so they will become aware of the brand, so to say, or the name Oikos. But you don't reach the ones who would deserve to be converted to think into better necessarily. But then there might still be some overlap. But yeah, my biggest fear is to get on there in order to feed into the addiction that's especially TikTok with a high pace kind of because it's literally having this or creating the same addiction response in human brains like heroin. It's the same thing what happens in our brains when we're and I find myself like, oh, let me just quickly check a few videos on TikTok. 2 hours later, time just flies. It's not even flying, it's like a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
So it's such a waste of time. But now you give me an idea to yes, I commit myself to get on LinkedIn with disruptive content such a way to inform, but also tell people now that you've seen this, get off because you've seen it all. No, because you should only spend so much time, if any, on social media, including TikTok, because it's
Yeah, I
addictive.
think
Because when
yeah,
I was a kid, we had this TV show in Germany where with a kind of was kind of organic educational TV. And the guy would always say at the end of the series, was like on for 20, 30 minutes, and it's like, and now, kids, you know what to do. You have to switch off your TV. So I'm going to do the same. Ah, thanks for putting that idea in my head. Now that you've seen this, get off your phone. Do something. Go outside.
I also get those kind of content when it's like you said, like after
Oh,
2 hours or something, like some video is going to pop up and say, have you stretched your neck in the past two
mm,
hours? I'm like, oh, I haven't. And
thanks
then
for
I just
into it.
drop my phone and my neck is just
Wow.
concrete. Like,
Like
but yeah,
it really affects our health to be addicted also. Okay,
definitely.
but now, so where do we reach the people? What can we do? Social impact.
As of reaching to more students,
No,
more
we've covered
businesses.
that. Yeah, we covered that. We should also engage in not just for fun or also for fun because yes, entertainment is sort of important, but also go to the theater once in a while. Just putting this out there. Not you, as in Hülya, but us all. Um, Yeah, but so let's engage in the real world, but get inspired in the digital world to engage in the real world. How's that? And now with all the experience that you have from your advocacy and campaigning work, how can you now see that unfold in Oikos?
I think the people we have are very dedicated. And since we are getting more interested people, they are getting in the mind space as we are. I don't want to sell it as a cult, but we have some great traditions around social structuring our organizations as well. Because, like, as Oikos, you always have to be, first of all, when we start a meeting, we have to check in
Mm.
to make sure that everyone is okay, everyone is arriving at the same level of understanding and attention, and everyone is ready to this meeting. And after the meeting, we check out and wish everyone a great rest of their day or evening. Um, I think it is also very important
Yeah.
to understand we are creating a community, not just an organization, not just some flow of work, not just some tables and stuff, but we would like to learn more about each other and create personal connections. Of course, everyone can, like, some people can say, oh, work is work. I don't want to see anyone from work outside of the work. this
Mhm.
is not it. Like, this is not that place. We are very much becoming friends as we worked
Mhm.
together, because we are very much like-minded, we are impact driven,
Mhm.
and we care about the same stuff. Why wouldn't we be
Yeah,
friends?
sure.
And we are also all around the same age, so we are automatically becoming friends.
Mhm.
So it is very much like a bit of a grown up version of having a kindergarten. I love that term,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
uh, we love team building also, because again, it is really important to have a clear communication and effective communication, because if I have to tell someone to do something,
Mhm.
I don't know, 3 4 times, and it's not done, then what are we doing here? But if that person understands the first time how to do it, or if they cannot have the time or the capacity to do it, reach back to me
Mhm.
to relocate it or take over it.
Mhm.
So this flow and back and forth is very important, to have clear line of communication.
Mhm.
And I am very proud that we are always further advancing it. It is very important to keep developing it, keep improving it, because you cannot expect people to show up same every day, because we sometimes see each other 2 3 times a week,
Mhm.
not the whole team, but some other people. We would need to have different conversations around different topics, and whenever someone's mood is not aligned with the meeting, it is very clear and it is very apparent that something is going on. So we feel the need to address it. And so that person first does they don't feel distance
Mhm.
from that conversation.
Well,
Second, since we address it, if they want to share something painful, shameful, embarrassing, whatever they are going through, of course, to the extent they are comfortable sharing,
mhm.
they then feel better because they shared it and they were faced with an understanding and empathy, not judgment.
Mhm.
And if they want to excuse themselves from that conversation, that's their choice.
Yes.
This is voluntary work. We're not forcing anyone to do anything. But if they showed up to that meeting despite that negative thing that they are going through, they wanted to still connect us, be connected to us. So it is very crucial to keep that connection, keep that communication, and it is very much important to um, have that culture of empathy in the team.
That's great. And it reminds us, so the word community, when you said, oh, it's like kindergarten, but for grown-ups and professionals, that's like, but it's so important not to forget that we are human beings. Like, not only at the end of the day, like, as we work throughout the day, we are human beings with our worries, with our fears, with our experiences, and that's a treasure box to bring to work. And if we have issues we need to deal with privately and show up at work despite because it's our commitment, but then a colleague notices, hey, you're not okay, what's up? It's just showing empathy to a friend, to another human being, and not being an asshole or, sorry, like, or like, oh, this we're professionals here, so we don't talk about private stuff. Hey, why? I mean, what? We're still human beings, we're not robots, machines, whatnot.
Yeah, it
And
it
also,
is important to yeah, it is important to have a holistic approach to any work we are doing, especially again team building, because any piece missing in the team is just the puzzle is not complete.
sure.
We are very much aware of that.
Yeah. Also, like it shouldn't turn into a therapy session kind of thing because it's not the purpose and the context, but there should still be room to allow a human being to express themselves. I'm not okay, I have this or that. I might not even want to share what it is, but something private, but at least let you know so that you don't expect that I am at 100% capacity today because I have too much stuff going on. And that's
Yeah.
valid. And then everybody can deal with it. That's professionalism. And I feel like in the kind of higher, faster whatever work culture that we find ourselves in the 21st century. I've totally kind of lost touch to that aspect. And it used to be, from what I've seen and heard, of family business around in the 20th century. And that's like, it sounds super long ago, but it's actually not so long ago, 1, 2 generations. Like family business is also today, like the bakery, and when businesses, professionals work that way naturally because it's the only way to make things work. If you have a service to your bakery clients, on like the people who drop in for the bread rolls and croissants and any whatever food, same as if you're serving society, the staff has to be okay because we're human beings. And of course you make sure that your employees are okay as a as an employer. And the employer, it's just that in the anonymous world of mega businesses with tens and hundreds of thousands of employees, the human touch got lost. And that's where we have, I mean, I think this always existed, but in the tech world that we live in, everything is so distant and everybody's so lonely to themselves, even though they're surrounded by hundreds and thousands of people at their fingertip. But people are lonely in big cities. It's crazy. I mean, it's not so crazy if you look at why that is and how. So, thanks for sharing about your work culture, building community. And I think like humans, from what I've seen, function well and they thrive in tribes. And tribe is often in some contexts seen as something negative, like tribal, oh, it's outdated, oh, only kind of Stone people live like that. First of all, we have indigenous people who very much still live in tribes today, which are communities which are happy and sustainable um, as a society in their ecosystem. And yes, I'm talking of people who live in and off the forest or as nomads in whatever in seemingly inhabitable habitats. But then they survive and they're okay. Like on yeah. So that's indigenous peoples if they were allowed to live their sustainable self-chosen way, which oftentimes they're not because industry encroaching and this and that. But I'm saying like the key message is community is what makes us human. And work environments are an opportunity to create such communities in order to provide a service. Now we're coming back to Oikos. So what kind of services are you providing with Oikos?
Uh, that's a good question. We have our annual event, Impacton, a 3-day impact hackathon where students work on the business challenges provided by the small companies or startups.
Mhm.
And they are working on creating sustainable and innovative solutions to those challenges because they're not always about sustainability reporting or carbon emission lowering or anything, but they can be also about the business itself and sustaining the business model. So we always look for diverse group of students so that they can bring in their diverse perspective. And we also have our normal consulting services. We give services around sustainable business models. We have the taxonomy and sustainable finance. We have the marketing and sustainable PR, and we have the market entry for sustainability driven businesses because sometimes they have a great product but they cannot find the right clientele. So we help them on that. And we also host monthly impact talks, and which you are going to be on our
Yay!
session next week with our student friends.
Yeah, I'm
And
looking forward to that. I'm a bit not anxious would be I'm not negatively fearful, but yeah,
excited,
I'm positively yeah, excited is a good word. And positively what's the other word? Nervous. Happily nervous.
okay,
Yeah.
happily nervous. I mean,
Excited
we
is a
are
better word.
we are always having some people from our network, especially now that we are in the HESI network as well, which is a great community. I would like to also a bit talk about the student action groups
Please,
activity.
yeah.
And we are always looking forward to hear from this different business or research professionals, especially sometimes we have sustainability consultants. They share their own experience and their own perspective on the work itself and what they are going through, especially now that we have so much changes in CSRD and the omnibus stuff. We always have a conversation around where our work is going right now. But again, our work is not just around compliance, so we make sure that our business model or our organizational model is also sustainable with our supporters and experts and sponsors and business clients as well. For the HESI Student Action Group, we had our first in-person workshop last month in Istanbul at Global Sustainable Development Congress. And it was a great success. We worked with a room of 120 people. Some of them were some of them were students, local students. Others were very diverse international professionals. Most of them were from higher educational institutions. We worked on creating a harmonious way of using these frameworks. We had 5 frameworks in a way that is going to help us make higher education more green and more sustainable and more real life adjacent and more impactful, of course. We had people working on some blank boards and they filled it with their ideas. They looked great. Of course, we worked on analyzing every board and we created a long internal report around it. And then we are going to create a shorter version of that long report in a visual way so that we can spread the word around what we have found as the product or outcome of that workshop. And of course, this is a very much the beginning of what we would like to achieve as the subgroup or the action group, because we have great organizations, student organizations in our mix, and everyone is very much dedicated to having a larger impact. And we are all experienced in this area as well. We didn't have any like anyone just starting to be in these spaces. Everyone was very much aware of how things worked. And we are very excited to have connected to these frameworks and their representatives as well, because their experience and their expertise around creating these frameworks were also very much helpful and a learning experience for us as well. Even though the students and the participants found the frameworks a bit hard to understand respectfully, they were a bit, they needed some further development with hands-on approach in a conversation with students, let's just say, because I think most of the things we are doing in the higher education world is top down. So that's where the problem starts. When something is coming from top down, there are some stuff missing that the students actually need. So it needs to be from bottom up. And
it's in the middle.
And meeting, have actual diverse stakeholder, multi-stakeholder conversations and collaborative discussions around what should the curriculum look like, what is actually needed by the job market or the economic model the world is going around right now. And yesterday we were having a conversation around, because we are also doing our own version of higher education, like helping in a way to higher education, because we are also working with some business schools. And one of the students said, we had career days, but during the career days, some 40, 50-year-old expert would show up and tell us to network and find these opportunities. But what does that mean? Like, that's not his experience because he started in the job market 20 years ago, 25 years ago. So he is not the person to give this advice right now. But as a 26-year-old, here I am. I can give you the advice on what to do because I am also in this market.
Yeah,
I am also experiencing this,
yeah.
but it is very much important to, again, meet in the middle, as you said, like from top down and bottom up, because sometimes there are so many stuff missing as the
Yeah,
communication is not connected.
yeah, there's blank spots on either side. The older ones and more experienced ones obviously have the experience. Some things certainly repeat themselves, as in, oh, I've seen this, done that. But then it's in a whole new context, which is our current time and age. And with all the new media, the way to consume information has changed drastically in just the
And
last few
yeah,
years.
and for the like uh a bit related to research, but also for the curriculum, you cannot teach the same curriculum 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Because the world is not the same, the researchers are not the same, the technology is not the same, so you have to keep updating your curriculum, you have to keep updating your researchers, and you have to keep educating your lecturers as well. You have to have a dynamic system inside those institutions, but especially if it's a state university, they totally avoid that.
Yeah,
They
because I think that first of all, my lack capacity to think about how can we do this well, so they don't do it at all because they don't dare to do it because then they might think, oh, it will not be functional. We just do it quickly with the capacity. I mean, the people that we have. Secondly, it's also like, do you agree that it's not about abolishing what we've known for decades and centuries in many cases when it comes to education, didactics, and all of that, but to put it in a new format? And the format does not have to be TikTok, but it can also be TikTok, and not TikTok alone, but one branch of it should also include TikTok because that's a reality that the young people now live with, if they even if they don't want to, but it's what they're exposed to.
Yeah, it has to be cumulative.
Mm.
Like, it has to be cumulative. You cannot erase anything because science is cumulative. Like, in science, you have to know most of the things that was said until this moment so that you can say something new. So in order to say something new, you have to build upon what is said until this moment. So even if you have a curriculum planned 15, 20 years ago, you can still look at it and look at the existing world or the context we're living in and say, we have to pull some stuff out, we need to put some stuff in, and at the end, you have to advance it and adjust it
Yeah.
to the students' needs and the requirements for their education to be actually in touch with reality.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Agree. Hi. So now, if you had a wish list for Oikos, three free wishes, what would it be? Or
More people
here's
to,
also for the listeners out there, how can they
okay.
engage? Let's put it that way.
Oh, they can, first of all, the easiest way is to subscribe to our newsletter. The
Mm.
second easiest way is to join our Impact Talks and just see us and meet with us and see how we work. The third one would be joining Impact On, or if you need help with your business, you can always email us and we can always help you. And if you're a student, we always have a spot for you. If you're a student, you can just give us a email, give us a DM, just send us a message. You will always have a spot for us.
Mm. So, like whoever wants to be engaged and learn more about sustainable economy at the
Yes, definitely. Sustainability consulting, sustainable business models, and sustainable consulting itself, like also having a sustainable way of building your career. We are also all doing that as a group.
and
So
research informed.
yes, we have many master students, we have PhD students, and we have bachelor students, and we are all in a way, in a shape or form, some students in our team. So you will always have a place within our team.
Great. The phone is ringing.
So
I don't know if you can hear it, so I'm a bit distracted. Sorry if I'm not. Oh, it's also, yeah. Um, Silence again. Now that the phone ring, the dog's gonna start barking. But I think, yeah, we've covered quite a long, certainly there's more to talk about. Maybe let's save that for another episode also. Looking very much forward, and we'll also share in this community for access to perspectives about the upcoming impact talk, where kind of we revert positions for the microphone. I mean, in the setting. So where you'll be the host and I'll be the guest together with Nyambura, my colleague. So we will share about that and put a link also in the documentation of this episode. And I'm very much looking forward for engaging more. Also, thank you so much for the work you do. It's so heartwarming to see, like, how do you say, like, all the attributes like shiny, positive, passionate, educated, both the mind and the heart.
thank you so much.
I have a poster up here. I got it from Globart, Austrian think tank organization, which is organizing an annual summit. I'll send you the link. It's called Globart, the organization. Will you be in Vienna? No, you'll be in Graz, no?
Graz. The event is in person and in Graz, yeah.
So, but if you get yourself into Vienna, which is not far from anywhere in Austria, because it's such a tiny country. Tiny.
Especially compared to Germany or Turkey, yeah.
Yeah, Germany is already small. Turkey is much bigger. So, but they handed out a poster a couple of years ago when I attended the symposium, and it said a quote by Aristotle. And it says, educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. And I feel that yourself, also what Oikos is doing, is certainly doing the Aristotle approach, educating both the heart and the mind. This is
Yes,
what the world needs, and us as humans in it. So thanks
definitely.
for doing the work. And
Thanks for having me. Thank you so much.